Welcome back to Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you learn how to attract an audience online, build influence, and convert more ideal clients. We've got a phenomenal guest with us today. We'll bring her in a second. First, McDaniel is in the co-pilot seat where you so belong, dressed in a hoodie, which is just wrong in so many ways because you should be dressed in a custom dress shirt. But no, you got to show up. It's rainy, I'm sure, in California where you're at too. And so I get it. Greg, what's up today?
The funny thing is I did have a custom dress shirt on and I was freezing my tail feathers off. So I went and put a sweatshirt on, and I do have a custom shirt because I'm rocking the Punisher, baby. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to punish on this episode. We're going to go over some cool stuff, branding and a whole ton of other things. And Reshia, you were saying that you have a podcast, right?
Yes, I do.
Oh, nice, dude.
Give it a plug.
Cool kid.
All right. Boss Life Uncorked.
Boss Life Uncorked. So what do you guys cover in Boss Life Uncorked?
Basically ways that you can win your market. I mean, ways that you can stand out, make your branding shine. And then we also drink wine.
That's the uncorked. I was going to ask where the uncorked is. Okay. So
it's like the mirror image of Greg's beers and calls, except a little bit more upscale.
Hey, you behave yourself. I'm actually writing it down. I really want to listen to that because I'm always looking for ways to kind of dominate your market and build a brand that you want. You know, one of my favorite books was Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller.
Love that.
And I got to meet Dave Ramsey about a year or two ago at a private dinner or lunch. And he and I, that guy's super busy. He just sit down, just riffed with me. And we were just chatting about the book and how to do that. And he's telling me how to do good radio because I had a radio show at the time. And I was just like, holy shit, like this book really gets people talking. Because I saw your reaction. You're like, oh, you're one of us. You can talk brand. Yeah, I like you. Anyways, awesome. I'll give it back to Matt. Matt is eagerly awaiting me to shut up. So I shall.
No, it's great. So first of all, Reshia, tell the folks that are listening, kind of give them just the 60-second bio, who you are, where you are, and what you do.
Yeah, so I am in San Diego, California, and it is expected to rain here. I have been selling real estate here for 17 years. So I started out when I was 18, and I've also merged into the branding world because I love it so much. So not only do I help brand houses, but I also help brand realtors.
Love it. So wait, you brand houses. Now that's something that I would like to explore. That's fascinating.
Yeah. So what I mean by that is I'll put a name to the house that matches the home, really making sure that somebody looks at the home really quickly. They already know what it offers. And so it's the same thing as like a branding message. If you're branding a product, my product is the house.
Gotcha. So Greg, your place would be like, what would it be? Like Elmwood Estates for the elderly? I think that's a pretty accurate, something like that. Yeah.
Hey man, unbeknownst to me, when I bought in this place, it is like living in a retirement community dominated by Persians and Asians.
I was going to say Little Tehran.
Yes.
Maybe it would be a more accurate descriptive. Yeah.
And they're all the nicest people. If I could just understand them. So we communicate with hand signs like, hi, good to see you, thumbs up, all right, bye-bye. But nicest freaking people on earth over here. Yes, I got to think of a way to brand my house.
Exactly.
Well, are you selling it? Maybe.
No, I'm not going to sell this thing. Are you kidding me? I'm
man.
4 stories up, safe from Corona. So
That's
I'm
right.
staying up here.
All right. So we want to talk about 3 steps to a lifestyle real estate business. Because Reshia, you've got a really great business here in San Diego. You've got a spouse and kids. Obviously, life, whenever you have kids, is chaotic, and a lot of people listening have that same situation. So the simpler you can make your real estate business, the more you can actually live a life that you can enjoy. And it sounds like you're living a really great one, and you help other agents do the same thing. So let's dive in a little bit. Let's talk about finding your happiness. So when you think about that, what does that mean when you want to help an agent find their happiness in their business?
The first thing that comes to mind is attracting the client that they want to work with. And so nothing will get you out of this business faster than working with a bunch of people that you don't like working with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a true fact. Oh my God.
So how do you help people identify who that is for them? Because agents have like an extreme case of the classic, I don't want to leave anyone out, itis.
Yes. Not only do they have that, but they also want to showcase all of their gifts. And it's already expected to the world that we know how to negotiate, that we know how to market, that we know how to present ourselves in the home. And so what I do is look at how what is it that the realtor loves to do the most? So as an agent, if your favorite thing is negotiating, then talk about the negotiating, because that's you're gonna attract people that love that negotiating world. It doesn't mean that you're not good at anything else. It just means that if your gift is not marketing a home, if you can't design a pretty flyer and you don't write good remarks about a home, like the best remarks, then you're probably not going to talk about how important it is that your remarks and everything that you do about the home, that you showcase the home, is top notch. Because you're going to set the wrong expectation. And so I say go in first saying, what is it that my client needs? And then what am I really good at? And then connecting the two and talking mostly about that.
Yeah.
So I love branding homes. I love to talk about how a home stands out, really find out what's wrong with the home, so to speak, or what buyers will maybe bring up as objections. And then I talk about why that's actually a good thing and attract the opposite buyer. So if I have a home that doesn't have a yard, I'm not going to just like breeze over the fact that it doesn't have a yard. I'm going to highlight the rooftop deck, and I'm going to attract the client that doesn't want a yard, because I don't want people coming in here that want a yard.
Yep. Love it. Yeah, Greg, that's fantastic. I mean, it's whatever your skill set is, you emphasize it. I know people that lean into the negotiation stuff hard. I know people that lean into the guaranteed sale because they have an investment background. Like whatever it is, I completely agree, whether it's some aspect of the sales and marketing side, or you can lean heavy into the client service side of things. That's where Lars Hedenberg, one of my other friends and clients that we've launched his podcast, that's where they're moving their entire real estate team towards. Todd Tremonti is the same way. Like everything is very client service focused. So like a concierge, white glove level service, like whatever it is, you can find some aspect of it that you can hammer that home. But you're right. Every agent wants to they want the entire part of the business to express their full personality. And they're not recognizing that you've got to package yourself in such a way that your message breaks through. And if you don't narrow down your message, it just doesn't break through. People can't take in the whole of your personality. All of your marketing can't express every side of yourself. So I love the fact that you're like, pick one thing and then just hit that over and over and over again.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they'll appreciate everything else that you do, but those clients will really appreciate what drew them to you in the first place.
That's right. Which is why Greg talks about beer, because he wants people that now, and I make that as a joke, but in all seriousness, Greg, the fact that you broadcast your beers and calls live on your personal Facebook profile, where you've got a lot of potential clients connected to you, I know agents have probably thought that was a weird thing to do, because you're broadcasting your prospecting to an audience that includes the people you're prospecting. But the bottom line is, Greg, you want people that know what they're getting into. You want people that know what your personality is like, so that when you show up to a listing appointment at a $3 million house in shorts and flip-flops, they're not thrown off.
No, everyone thinks that that's a joke. And I listed a house last summer in a t-shirt, flip-flops, shorts, and my shirt said, "What's up, chicken butt?" on the front of it. And my client was even more casual than I was, but people know my personality. I mean, granted, he was a past client, but I hadn't talked to him in 16 years. I mean, last time I talked to him, they had one baby, or a brand new nugget baby. Like it was like 1 day old. He was 1 day old. But now they have 3 boys, and one of them is 16, 14, and 13 or something like that. But I mean, it is just like you're saying, you just brand who you are. Don't try to be fake or something you're not, but let people know exactly what you're talking about. Like the backyards. Like, I'm not going to talk to you about a backyard if you don't want a backyard, or if I don't have a backyard. I mean, like going to my house and going, "Look at the lush landscaping. It's so beautiful," but you don't have to do any of it.
Me and Greg hear that, and all we hear is cha-ching, 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 time,
yeah.
Pain in the butt. Yeah. Okay.
There goes my Saturdays.
Exactly. Yeah. There goes my Saturday. Okay. So let's move on to point number 2, which I'm going to put this in terms of the end result, which is making your life easier and making sure the mistakes don't happen, which is systems, templates, checklists, tools, different things like that. So let's dive into that a little bit. What are some of the things that you built for yourself and your business to make your own life easier?
Yeah, well, I've been at a place where I was juggling, 10 transactions at once. And the number one thing that I would say that helped me were templates. So even something so simple as an open escrow email, where you're laying it out saying, please put the property address in every email. Here's everybody involved in the transaction in one email, and the timeline, so that you can always refer back to that email if you're out on the go. It really should be in another system, but if it's not, it's in that email. Your client can always refer to it. Everybody's in one place, so you're not having to do these separate introductions. So the number one thing, if you don't have any template set up, definitely at least set the tone with that open escrow email. And then obviously checklist, make so that it just kind of allows for human error. Like, we all mess up. We've all been there before where we forgot to say something to the client, especially if you're juggling so many clients. And you want to make sure that they are being told everything about the transaction so that there's no surprises. The biggest one I run into is believe it or not, when a seller doesn't either know that they don't receive the funds before a buyer actually gets possession of the keys, especially if they're from out of state. That's weird for them. Or the fact that they have to move out before they even know the home is closing. If they have to move out by 5 p.m. and that wasn't communicated. So little things that we just forget to say, and it's going to be solved in a little template or, in your checklist to at least talk to them.
Yeah. I think, checklists are probably one of the biggest things out there. A good friend of mine, a good friend of the shows, her name is Bernice Ross, trainer, educator, writer, the whole nine. And we're recording a training session for one of her products. And one of her big things, which is exactly what you're talking about. She has checklists for everything, right? But it's good for you as an agent, but it's also good for the client, and both vice versa. So there's no misunderstandings. Like the 5 p.m. one. Yeah, I've experienced that a couple of times. That's fun. When someone's not out of the house yet, the moving truck's pulling up and everyone's like, WTF is going on here? And then it gets very interesting very quickly. But you're like small subtleties. That's why I have Matt, and that's not a joke. He has all the details oriented and stuff for the podcast. I'm just not like that. I have Eileen on my real estate team that she does the checklist and stuff like that. And this podcast could not function without Matt and the way his brain works. And my team could not function without Eileen, the way her brain works. And like, I need people like you guys, like, desperately. Yeah. Okay. So thank you.
Yeah. I mean, it is relying on a good team. And then if you are a great delegator, which I'm on the far spectrum of, I either delegate, right, or I do it all myself. And the challenge with that is that I'm not in the middle. And so if I have someone where it's like, here, do all of this, I'm just going to trust it's being done. And that's a problem if I don't have the right systems in place.
Yeah. Yeah. Very easy to lose control if you think, what was it, Derek Sivers that said, delegate, don't abdicate. And that is it's not really a fine line, but it's easy to fall into once you start having, and I think that's what a lot of agents want. The fantasy for most agents is to bring on, whether it's a part-time assistant or even sometimes an integrator or a business manager into the business, with the idea that they can just throw all the stuff over their shoulder at that person. And that person, if they're the right person, will just hit the ground running and take over all of their stuff and all the things that they don't want to do. Unfortunately, that's not reality, because most agents don't hire someone and pay them enough to attract that high level of a skill set. And they don't know what to do when they have a couple of failures, and they don't understand that it's their own fault. It's their own fault for not having the systems that person can step into. So the more that you document, the more checklists, the more tools you have in advance, the easier it is to find someone that can step in and take over those things. And then you can throw stuff over your shoulder and you don't forget about it, but you have to check in a lot less often. You can check in once a week, then you can check in every couple of weeks, but that person's got to start with good systems. So yeah, love it, love it, love it. I could talk about systems all day, as you can see, but we're going to skip to the next one. So let's talk about referrals and past clients, because I want to attack it from the angle of the branding perspective, right? So Reshia, when you think about the way that you branded yourself online, what is it about the way that you communicate and the way that things are branded on your social media accounts that makes your past clients and your referral sources think of you first? And what are they thinking of you? Like, what are they linking you to?
So they just have to know that I sell homes. And then they get to know me. And so we think that it's so big and it's so confusing. But first they know me as a person, and then they know that I sell homes. And so I do keep in front of them on social media. I prefer social media right now. I'm going to say the big, bad thing. I like social media over a CRM, because for me, it's a very casual way to get my past clients and my sphere to respond. If I send them a messenger, hey, I ran into this home, this is a crazy deal. If I identify a great home and I'm just telling people about it, I'm going to do it probably on Messenger, because they feel an obligation to respond. If I send it in an email, that's a mass email. It's it's not going to be received the same way.
Mm.
So it's still, I talk about real estate, but I want to show up when I'm talking about real estate. I want to show value with it.
Okay.
I want to, write a story about a home, because then people are going to go, oh, she writes stories about listings. And so everything that I'm presenting is going to be very, it's going to be in the space that I like to talk about. Market updates, I'm going to give my interpretation of a market update,
Okay.
so that they get to know my voice. And it's in front of them. And then there are times where people forget, like, that you sell real estate. They just aren't really thinking about it, right? They're or they know you, but then they go like, oh, why didn't I call Reshia? Darn it, I forgot. Or they're wondering, how active are you in that space? And so just posting certain things about real estate keep you at the forefront of their mind, so that when they talk about, hey, we really were, we're talking about buying a home, you're stepping in front of them. One thing that I'd say that my one way of like generating business when I feel like I'm starting to slow down is I do identify a home that I think is super unique for whatever reason. I'll give one example. Found a mid-century modern that was 100,000 under market in Mount Helix. Yeah. And by the way, it went for 100,000 more than it was listed for, but it gave me something to talk about. And so and the reason why it was priced so low, because it was a 2-bedroom, but I think you can retain that value back because it's such a super unique home that doesn't come on the market so I was able to call a lot of people from my sphere, especially the ones that I knew that were thinking or talking about buying at one time. And they didn't buy that home, but I generated buyers that were going like, okay, let me look at that house. Let me look into it. And it started the conversation about buying a home. And so if you feel yourself stuck, do that. Locate a really neat property, because then you are, like, you're giving them value. They can go like, oh, she knows how to identify a really great property. And that's step one.
I'm obviously not a good writer. Rishi, you don't know that, you don't know me. But Matt knows me. I use crayons to write my books. But one of the things I've talked about to do, you talk about building a brand around a house. And I'd love to get your thoughts on this. What about doing like video interviews with the homeowners, if they're willing, and talking about the unique things about the neighborhoods? Like every 4th of July after the parade, everyone gets their barbecues out, and we have a barbecue, for the neighborhoods out in front of all the houses. Or, we raised 3 kids in the home. Here are some of our most favorite stories or memories of the house. Hopefully you guys enjoy them as well. Or no one knows this, but if you go through the back gate and you go left, you're going to find blah, 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 yakety schmack, right? I mean, but kind of finding that, building that story there. And also, do you see any kind of potential of, I'm like you, emails, I get everything lost, but I mean, social media, you can find everything in there. Do you see any validity in telling stories on like TikTok or anything like that when it comes to a brand of a house? You're smiling, so I'm assuming that might have been a conversation you've had.
Yeah. So I think for the first question, my answer is going to be, it depends. So do I get the client on video? I haven't done that yet. And the reason why is because video is terrifying for most of the world. And so you'd be surprised how many agents I've actually coached through. That was part of my old job as a manager at the other franchise I was with, was to help them do video and showcase their home. I was behind the scenes feeding them the words and the energy. So a lot of people it terrifies them. But what I would do is find out what it is that makes that home special in terms of lifestyle. And so I actually do a video tour, and it's professionally done. And I call it a home and lifestyle tour. And that's how we've just branded it in the back. And that's me walking through the home, talking about it, talking about what makes it special. And I mix in that lifestyle with the actual features of the home, and paint that picture of what it's going to be like to come home after a busy day, from work and actually land here. Even nowadays, it's even more important to have that space that you love living in. So what I'm able to accomplish that way is I've got this very professional video. They can see I'm really good on video. They can see that I've found the neat qualities about the home. And the last 2 listings I've managed to kind of make them famous where my friends talk about it. I see my friends and they go, hey, how's the Thorpe house doing? Hey, so it's like they're seeing things about the house and they're going, I really want that house. They've only seen a video of it, and it's a minute and a half or 2 minutes long. And they've fallen in love with it without even walking through the door. And that's my goal. With TikTok, I've downloaded, I put the app on my phone, right? And then I forgot my own password. Like I can't even get it. Yes, you get a lot of views. I understand that. For me, it's kind of a big, it's just not my thing. It's very
Gotcha.
young. It just makes me feel old. And so definitely operate in the places that you love doing. I'm a YouTube, Facebooker, Instagrammer. Like that's my space right now. TikTok, I just don't know how to look cool on it. So I'm just going to avoid it altogether right now.
What's funny is you feel old and you're the youngest out of all three of us. How do you think
Yeah.
we feel over here?
God.
Absolutely not. I look at TikTok every time I see one of my friends or clients on TikTok reposting, because I'm not on it. So I see what they repost, which theoretically is the best of the stuff they've recorded, by the way. And I look at that and go, how does that build any credibility? I understand it attracts attention, but like we're selling professional services, not promoting our latest live rap show. So I think somebody will figure out how to make it work. And I think there's, look, somebody's going to make it work. There'll be a success story somewhere. Somebody will do it, and that's fine. More power to them. Let's see if they're in business 5 years from now. That's all I got to say about that.
Well, we have Alyssa. I mean, she came on the show and she's found a way to work in mortgages. But I mean, I think we're going down a rabbit hole. But I agree with you. I mean, it's a different vertical for communication that our generation is probably not the best at using. I mean, shit, man, I'm just trying to figure out how to turn on my phone. I mean, how do you turn this thing on?
I'm trying to figure out how to get rid of my phone. Yeah, forget turn it on. I want to turn it off.
The TikTok conversation, just really quick. I think that the people that are going to do well with it are the ones that are embracing it, getting followers now. So when it evolves, then you already have the platform. Like I wish I was on Instagram back in the day because I would have, 50,000 followers or whatever. I just started really using it last year.
Wow.
So I'm late to I've had a really easy career in real estate where it's like, I haven't had to do anything. And so now it's like, last year it was like, I'm just going to get really serious about building my brand and see what that would look like rather than building other companies' brands. Company I was with, all the companies I've been with before, I built their brand. And so now last year it was finally my turn to build my brand. And so that's been fun.
That is awesome. And I think that's that's something that I want to touch on really quickly when it comes to brand. Well, my past brokers that have been a part of, they've always been our brand, push, us, forget about you, but just push our broker's brand. And I'm like, I don't think that's right, dude. I mean, yes, you've spent millions of dollars, but okay, good for you. You wasted money. That doesn't mean that I have to push your brand. And I think in today's day and age, we are our own brand even more so than we ever were in the past. Do you see the same trend right now moving forward?
Yeah, I think that the brand is what helps you. It supports you as the agent. And so it's important to be with a brand that you work well with that solves the problems that you have. So if you need marketing help, be with a brand that's going to help you with the marketing. But when it comes to what the client should identify as your brand, it's going to be your name. I tell agents, instead of making up a fake name, so it's like they'll be with, company A, and then they have this like pseudo name, company B, and then it's their name. And that is so confusing for consumers, for the clients. They're like, I don't get it. What company do you work for? Just be brokerage and name. Like just have your name. It's a monogram. That's my stance on it. Unless you are doing something different where you're building a team and it's something, something completely different. But then in that case, you could start your own company and just have brokerage support. But for the majority of agents, it's build your name because no one's going to take your name. It doesn't matter what brokerage that you go to, you will always have your name. So build that. Have that be at the forefront of everything. And then your brokerage is the reason why you work with that brokerage when you're bringing it up into listing presentations. The reason why I work with this brokerage is because they support me so that I can be a better realtor for you. And I can do, A, B, and C for you because of that.
Very good point.
Yeah.
I mean, for years, I'd always say, hey, this is, I actually did it in reverse. I said, my name is Greg McDaniel. I'm with eXp Realty and the McDaniel Callahan team. So I would put that in a different order, but I always was always putting my name first. I wasn't like, hi, I'm a real estate agent with eXp Realty and the McDaniel Callahan team, and my name is Greg McDaniel. People are like, alphabet soup. Whoa.
Yeah,
Who?
exactly like
Good God. I think you can cut out one of those already. Just say, I'm Greg. I'm an agent with eXp Realty. Yeah. Or you can say Greg with the McDaniel team or something like that. Yeah, way better. Good Lord.
But what we did, my dad did when he was, before I joined the team, he branded, it was the Terry McDaniel team. And then with block brokerage, right? When you could be super duper teeny weeny. Like it was so, we made jokes that we made the brand of the brokers as small as legally possible to read. Now we can't do that. Obviously there's different regulations that come down, but he was very smart along those. He always branded Terry McDaniel team. Always. And people recognize, and they still see him. They see him in Starbucks. They're like, Terry. He's like, who are you? Okay.
Yeah, talk about a guy who has a past referral base. Good Lord.
Good God.
Past client and referral base. Okay. So Reshia, let's do this. What is, we talked a little bit about the podcast, so let's refresh people's memory on that and tell them how to go grab that. And then what's the best way just to connect with you on a personal level?
Yeah, so you can definitely find me on Facebook and on Instagram. Reshia Lea is my, I guess, at Reshia Lea. The podcast is Boss Life Uncorked. And you can find me on YouTube. You can actually watch a video there, or you can also look it up on all the other, podcast audio platforms.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I've been using Spotify a lot lately as my podcast platform and enjoying it. So if anybody wants to do that, most podcasts that you can find on Apple Podcasts and iTunes are now on Spotify because Spotify opened it up. So you can basically submit whatever you want there. So most of your podcasts are now there, and Spotify just works a little bit more seamlessly than Apple Podcasts, which is terrible because Apple Podcasts should take that more seriously, for God's sake.
Yeah, that's what I'm on.
Exactly. And then Greg, what's the best way to reach out and connect with you?
Guys, go ahead and just send me a DM on Facebook. Send a message there. I can get back to you audio or video response. That's relatively pretty quick. If you send me an email, yeah, it's like into the abyss, into Middle Earth. It's not gonna get to me. Or just shoot me a text. I'm very good on text. I text Matt with voice messages all the time. He loves them. And hit me up on.
It's a joy and a privilege. What's your number, Greg?
I'm trying to get it out. Stop stopping me. God, now you got me all flustered. 925, 915, 1978. That was the hardest delivery of my own cell number I've ever experienced in my life. And I'm playing you.
I'm pretty sure I wake up in the middle of the night going, 925, 915, 1978. Like I have that thing memorized. Good God. I don't know how you have trouble getting it out. Okay. And then for me, go get the Microfamous book, microfamousbook.com. It is free plus shipping. So you basically, if you cover the shipping, I will buy you the book. So you can get that there. You can also get it on Amazon especially if you want like the Kindle version, if you're an e-reader type person, but get the book. And then you can always get a hold of me at pursuingresults.com. Greg, shall we tie a nice little bow upon this episode?
We do need a bow, Matt. We can't leave Reshia out in the cold. I mean, every other show gets a color, and you're saying she doesn't get one?
No, I'm not saying that. Not saying that.
I do not agree with this action.
All
Matt,
right,
pick a color.
Let's go with the navy blue bow. Tie that right up around this episode and call it good.
All right, guys, there it is. It's your navy blue bow. Reshia, you are amazing. I would love to go deeper with you in regards to kind of like brand building and kind of what agents can do. I know that people are going to love this episode. So if you guys liked it, please go to iTunes, Spotify, anywhere else you get your podcast. Give us a 5-star bing rating so that more people will find us. Give a shout out to Reshia as well. But Matt, as usual, peace out, ninjas. We're gone.